Now, there are many reasons why you wouldn't last a day as a samurai. Perhaps you would die in battle, or your daimyo would find out that you're secretly a ninja working for his rival clan and decide that the quickest way to put an end to this conspiracy theory was by cutting off your head. But today, I want to talk about something a little bit different, something that even the most skilled samurai warriors of all time had a hard time with: being a simp. Nah, I'm just kidding. That's not what I meant at all. I want to talk about how you wouldn't last a day as a samurai because they kept their weapons clean. Wait, what? Yeah, you heard me right. These dudes cared about the cleanliness of their swords more than they cared about certain body parts. So if you're a filthy animal who doesn't wash their hands after going no, too, then congratulations, you wouldn't last a day as a samurai. In fact, you probably wouldn't last longer than 5 minutes, because their swords were basically treated like sacred relics. They weren't just tools for slicing and dicing bad guys. They were symbols of the samurai's honor and status, so they had to keep them clean at all times. You see, samurai valued cleanliness and order. They believed that a dirty weapon was a sign of disrespect to their opponent, and it was also seen as a sign of bad luck. So when it came to their swords, they took extra special care to keep them spotless. One slip-up, and your sword could be covered in dirt and grime, which is exactly what happened to our protagonist in this mini-story. It's time for our first story, a sword test. You couldn't fail or live past. The year is 1866, and the location is Japan during the turbulent Meiji Restoration period. Our protagonist is a young man named Kenji, who dreams of becoming a samurai. For years, he has trained diligently in the art of swordsmanship, honing his skills and waiting for his chance to prove himself. Finally, his time has come. He has been summoned to the shogun's court to take part in a secret mission. The shogun, Tokugawa Yoshinobu, has received word that a band of rogue samurai is planning to steal one of his most prized possessions, a legendary katana known as the Dragon's Fang. The shogun tasks Kenji with the mission to retrieve the sword from the thieves and bring it back to him. Kenji is overjoyed. This is his chance to prove himself and earn the respect of the shogun. He accepts the mission and sets out to find the thieves. After days of searching, Kenji finally tracks down the thieves to a small village. He sneaks into their hideout and finds the Dragon's Fang. But as he reaches for the sword, he hears a voice. "So you're the samurai the shogun sent to retrieve his sword?" The speaker steps into the light and reveals himself to be a grizzled old samurai. "I am one of the Dragon's Fang protectors," he says, "and I will not let you take it from us." Kenji draws his sword and prepares to fight. The battle is fierce, and Kenji is pushed to his limits. But as he fights, he realizes that the old samurai is right. The Dragon's Fang is too powerful and dangerous to be wielded by just anyone. In the end, Kenji manages to defeat the old samurai, but he is exhausted and wounded. As he stands over the old samurai's body, he knows that he must make a decision. He could take the sword and return it to the shogun, or he could leave it behind and let the old samurai rest in peace. In the end, Kenji decides to leave the sword behind. He knows that the shogun would be disappointed, but he also knows that he can never live up to the sword's reputation. As he walks away from the hideout, he feels a sense of peace. He may not have the Dragon's Fang, but he has something else: the knowledge that he has done the right thing. When Kenji returns to the shogun's court, he is summoned to the shogun's court. The shogun is furious, demands to know why Kenji did not return with the sword. Kenji explains that he left the sword behind because he knew he was not worthy of it. Shogun is unimpressed. "You have failed me," he says, "and for that, I must punish you." With that, the shogun banishes Kenji from the court, stripping him of his rank and title. Kenji is devastated, but he knows that he has no one to blame but himself. He has failed the shogun, and he has failed himself. Now a low-level samurai, Kenji is assigned to guard duty at the shogun's palace. It is a far cry from the missions of honor he had dreamed of, but it is all he deserves. As he stands guard, he can't help but feel like a failure. He looks down at his hands, calloused and scarred from years of training, and remembers the feel of a sword in his hand. He misses the thrill of the hunt, the challenge of a worthy opponent. But as the weeks turn into months, Kenji begins to find a strange satisfaction in his new life. He takes pride in his work as a guard, protecting the shogun in his court. He trains the new recruits, passing on the skills he has learned over the years. And he even finds a new purpose in life, helping others to become better samurai. Though he may never again wield a sword in battle, Kenji finds peace in knowing that he is still a samurai, not because of his rank or his title, but because of the skills he has honed and the honor he has upheld. Wait a minute, what happened to the dragon's fang? Did Kenji forget about that? No, the dragon's fang still remains hidden in the village, protected by the old samurai spirit. Only a true samurai, one who is worthy of the sword's power, can pull it from its hiding place. And Kenji knows that he is not that samurai. He accepts his fate and continues his duty as a humble guard, waiting for the day when a worthy successor comes along. Well, folks, that concludes our first mini-story. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, then I've got some great news for you. Because every single day I publish a ton of stories like this on my page, all for free. But now it's time for our second story, the sword inspection that would make or break your career. You are a low-level samurai working under a powerful warlord in feudal Japan. Your job is simple: guard the toilets, serve tea, and try not to get beheaded. But today is an important day. Your lord is hosting a delegation from a rival clan, and everything must be perfect. As a lowly samurai, it falls to you to inspect the quality of the matcha powder for any foreign objects, such as pebbles, leaves, or small pebbles. Yes, it's a very important job. Using a special tool called a cheshaku, you carefully sift the powder for any impurities. Your heart pounds in your chest. What if you find something? You could be demoted to the infamous guard, the toilets post. Suddenly, you hear a loud sneeze from across the room. Your blood runs cold. Could it be a fly? You rush over to the source of the sound only to see a stack of scrolls. Relief washes over you until you notice something horrifying. A single grain of sand has landed on top of the scrolls. Had it been there long? What if the visitor sees it? Panic sets in. You have only seconds to remove the speck without drawing attention to yourself. You reach out a trembling hand and slowly brush the sand away. Just as you think you've made it, another sneeze erupts from the other side of the room. You freeze. Another obstacle appears in your path. Precious scroll with a tiny smudge. You suck in a deep breath and steel yourself. You need to fix this quickly. Carefully, almost reverently, you reach out to wipe away the mark. As your fingers touch the scroll, the room falls silent. The fate of your career hangs in the balance. Each second that passes feels like an eternity. Finally, you brush away the last trace of the smudge. Exhausted and relieved, you step back to admire your handiwork. The scrolls are pristine once more. You allow yourself a moment of pride before rushing back to check on the matcha powder. Your hands shake as you sift through the precious powder.
Yes.
You have to find something, anything to distract from your mistake. Just when you lose hope, you spot a small pebble hiding in the corner of the bowl. Quickly, you fish it out and examine it closely. It's the perfect size and shape to replace the smudged scroll. Hope rekindles within you. Maybe you can still save your career. Secretly, you stash the pebble on top of the scroll. Then you return to the matcha powder, hoping for a miracle. As you walk away, you can almost hear the pebble winking at you, a silent testament to your quick thinking. You complete your inspection with renewed vigor, finding nothing else amiss. You straighten your back and bow deeply to the assembled dignitaries. They smile warmly, pleased with the quality of the tea. Relieved, you steal another glance at the scrolls. The pebble sits innocently on top, a silent reminder of your brush with disaster. As the visitors depart, your lord approaches you with a gentle smile. "Your work is well done," he says, his eyes twinkling. A true samurai pays attention to even the smallest detail. You bow deeply, humbled by his praise. "But wait, lord. You forgot something. There's a giant sword on the wall over there, and it's absolutely filthy. What are we going to do about that? Oh, great. Seems like someone has gotten sick on this katana. How embarrassing." It's time for another rousing game of Would You Rather. Be brutally honest here. Would you rather clean a toilet or clean a gross sword? Comment down below with either toilet or sword. And I bet most of you are saying toilet, right? Come on, admit it. Cleaning a sword is kind of like cleaning a toilet, except with more germs and flesh. EU. So you'd think you'd do better than me? Prove it? Why, you wouldn't last a day as a samurai. You wake up bright and early for your shift at the Shogunate court. As a low-level samurai, you've been summoned to the emperor's court to deliver a very important message. The journey's long, so you take your time, savor the scenery, and finally arrive just as the sun is setting. Your delivery is flawless, and you return home satisfied with yourself. It was probably one of the most wholesome things that you've done today. Ma. But now your boss, your clan leader, is going to be so happy with you. You can feel the dopamine hit already. But wait, before you get into the afterglow of that good boy moment, you need to remember everything that you learned from your week of samurai training. Because if you don't, someone might end up dead. Welcome back to the channel. We're going to assume you survived the first two scenarios in our last episode and somehow found your way to the third and final test. If you want to survive this scenario and live another day, pay close attention. In the olden times, being a samurai was no easy job. They were expected to serve their lords with absolute loyalty, honor, and bravery, and they were also expected to not stab each other in the back all the time. That was a given. We're here to teach you everything you need to know about the crazy world of medieval Japanese samurai. So buckle up, grab your katana, and prepare for an epic journey through time. But please also remember to like and subscribe because it really helps us out. Thanks, guys. So you just finished delivering tea to the Emperor of Japan. Congratulations. You must be feeling pretty good about yourself right now. But guess what? You've actually managed to offend 3 different clans by sneezing without covering your mouth. And now you've accidentally thrown a proverb that makes you an outcast of society. Welcome to the crazy world of Shogunate court politics where one wrong move and you're dead. Shogunate courts were known for being some of the most paranoid places in the world. Everything you did, said, and even thought was carefully orchestrated and controlled. Even something as simple as bowing had its own set of rules and regulations. You had to bow low enough to show respect, but not so low that you revealed the back of your head. It was a high-stakes game of charades, and you had to make sure that you got it just right. Any mistake could be seen as a slight or an insult, and you would have to fight your way out of court alive. And it wasn't just body language that was important. What you said could literally get you killed. One wrong word, and you could start a duel, an all-out war between clans. Just imagine trying to have a conversation with someone while walking on eggshells. That was everyday life in the Shogunate court. Even a simple joke could have deadly consequences. And let's not even talk about the looks you had to endure. One wrong glance or smirk could be interpreted as a threat or a challenge. And before you knew it, you were in the middle of a staring contest with a guy who wanted to cut off your head. To add fuel to the fire, gossip was weaponized and used to spread rumors and slander. Your reputation was everything in this world, and destroying it was a favorite pastime of many courtiers. Samurai were known for their sense of honor, but they were also known for their short tempers. A slight, real or perceived, could lead to a violent outburst, a slap, a kick, or even a full-on sword fight. It was a delicate balance between maintaining control and letting your emotions run wild. And trust us, you didn't want to mess it up. But wait, it gets worse. Betrayal was also a common tactic in samurai politics. You couldn't trust anyone, not even your closest friends or family members. Many samurai were betrayed by those they trusted, leading to tragic consequences. And how did they do it? Well, through the art of calligraphy. Yep, you heard that right. The way you wrote a letter or signed a document could determine your fate. There was a lot of backstabbing and double-crossing going on, and you had to be on your toes at all times. One wrong move, and you could find yourself out of favor with your lord, or even targeted for assassination. The worst part, it was all done with a smile. Japanese culture values politeness and respect, even in the most cutthroat situations. Samurai were expected to maintain a composed and respectful demeanor at all times, no matter how much they wanted to scream and lose their minds. They had to keep their cool and bide their time for revenge. Let's talk about being the bigger person, but like with a sword and stuff. Now we're going to tell you a little secret. Surviving the Shogunate court was less about skill or strength and more about luck. You could be the most honorable and skilled samurai in the world, but if you drew the short straw, you could end up in a duel against a guy who was just looking for an excuse to cut off your head. So basically, it was a bit of a gamble. But it wasn't all bad. There were perks to being a samurai, such as the fact that you got to wear cool armor and carry a giant sword around. But we're guessing that's not enough to make up for the stress of living in a pressure cooker. In conclusion, we're going to say it again, you wouldn't last a day at the Shogunate court. Not only would you have to navigate the treacherous waters of court politics, but you'd also have to deal with the constant threat of death. So count yourself lucky. You've never had to worry about the endless list of rules and regulations governing every aspect of your life, or the backstabbing and betrayal that went on behind your back. All you had to do was sit there and listen to us ramble on about it.